Webheads, it's Tuesday. It's one day before New Comic Book Day, but you know what? It's never too early to start putting together that pull list for next week. Hey, all my webheads out there, welcome back to Comic Book Corner 2.0. And fans, I am your host, Mike Spider Slayer, getting ready to bring you my top 10 most anticipated comic books. Fans, this is for September 2nd, 2020. That's right, guys, it's never too early to start putting together that pull list for next week. And fans, hopefully this list helps you make decisions of what comic books to buy. And guys, at any time, if you would like to go on my home screen and just hit that join button, that's all you got to do. It gives that extra love, that extra support towards the channel. And fans, as always, thank you so much for watching and supporting. So guys, let's kick off this list this week with the hot seat. And that's right, like usual, this is the book that it might be on my list for now, but I could drop it at any moment or not even buy it when I get to the comic book shop. Just depends on how much I buy that particular week. So the first one that we're going to be talking about today is Miles Morales, Spider-Man, issue 18. Now, when it comes to this story, I've been hot and cold with Miles Morales. I have this love thing for this character, but lately, the way he's written, I just haven't been on board with it. And I feel like we've been kind of hinted that we're kind of possibly going back to the Ultimate Universe with Miles, but I'm not 100% sure with that. And this particular title deals with the whole Outlawed event that's been kind of going on with Marvel, which I'm not too sure about, because didn't we have like a main Outlaw book? And then we had all the tie-ins to it, and it just seems like the only book that it's being covered right now is Miles Morales, Spider-Man. So I'm kind of just really on the fence altogether when it comes to this whole Outlawed event, but nevertheless, I'm going to give it a try. I want to really enjoy Miles Morales again. I miss the old days, like when Miles Morales came onto the scene when he was in the Ultimate Universe. So we'll see what happens with this one. This is Miles Morales, issue 18, 32 pages, $4. All right, so let's officially kick off this countdown now with number 10. And Webheads, the number 10 most anticipated book this week goes for Avengers of the Wastelands issue 5. This is the conclusion to this series. Now, you could have possibly read this digitally already, but nevertheless, if you skip the digital format of this, we have the printed version coming out, and this is the final showdown on Dr. Doom's doorstep. So the makeshift Avengers here go against Dr. Doom of this world, and you got to think that Dr. Doom at this point is like an ancient relic. There can't be too much left of him, but he's been the main antagonist of this entire book, so I'm very curious to see how this one ends. Looking forward to it. So this is Avengers Wasteland issue 5, 28 pages, $4. All right, moving on to number 9, Webheads. This is a book that was supposed to come out a long time ago, and it was on a limited release, and this one is Black Widow issue 1. Now, what I mean by limited release is that originally, way back when this movie was supposed to come out, certain shops received issue 1 variant covers, and then they pushed back the original release till now. And so I actually have one of these variant covers, so I already know what happens in the story, but I wanted to let you guys know out there that this book is coming out September 2nd. First issue, Black Widow issue 1. I'm not going to lie, I read it, and this is done by Kelly Thompson, and I actually enjoyed the first issue from what I remember. I'm going to probably reread it, get, touch up on it or whatnot, but I think this book actually has good potential. So we'll see what happens. The artwork was pretty good in it. I definitely say check it out for a first issue. 28 pages, $4. Moving on to number 8, Webheads. We're talking about Wolverine issue 5. Now, this one was on the hot seat, I think, last week or a couple of weeks ago, and I was definitely disappointed with the way Wolverine was being delivered. But in most recent issue, in issue 4, we wound up seeing Omega Red in that book. So, guys, I'm letting you know now. This is the first spoilers that we're basically talking about. So if you don't want to be spoiled, right, pause the video, quiet it down, whatever the case may be, until we move on to the next book. But this is your spoiler warning. So in the last issue of Wolverine, issue 4, which came out this current comic week, we wound up seeing Omega Red in there. And Omega Red is tangling with Wolverine at the end of the issue, and it really left you on a good cliffhanger here. And could it be a possible team up between these two characters? I don't know, but this actually finally raised my interest, and I'm looking forward to issue 5. Now, this book is 28 pages, and it's $4. All right, moving on to number 7, webheads. This one goes to Batman, The Adventure Continues. This is issue 4. This book has been pretty good. Obviously, this continues off of the Batman, the Animated Series. I've always said this, my gripe about this book is the artwork tends to be okay, but the coloring is light, and I want it to be a little bit darker. But we have some cool characters in this book. We got Jason Todd, who's making his appearance. We got Batgirl that's making her appearance. We have Sunny that's in this book, who is like a mentor to, or Deathstroke is a mentor towards Sunny, and she's studying to become like this warrior or whatnot. So, and based off of this cover here, we have like Batman, we have Catwoman on there. So it looks like it could be another great issue. So this book is definitely getting better with every single issue. So if you haven't checked this one out, I definitely recommend it. 32 pages, $4 comic. All right, so climbing up on the countdown, we talk about number 6. And number 6 is We Only Find Them When They're Dead. This is issue 1, and I think this is from Boom Studios. Al Ewing is the writer of this particular book, and Simone Di Meo, I think, is the artist on this book. And this looks like an interesting premise as we get to see people that are kind of mining these, like, dead gods. That's kind of the description I got when I read about this book. And it kind of reminds me something from Marvel. Like when you see Guardians of the Galaxy, you get to see people stealing all the resources from a dead celestial. That's kind of what this actually reminds me of, because these people are these giant gods and they're getting these resources or whatever. I don't know. It looks weird. Definitely different. I know some people actually, I think I've already read this book. So supposedly the release is this particular week. I could be off by this one, but whenever I get my hands on a copy of it, I'm definitely looking forward to it. All right, guys, so we're moving on to the top 5 now. And my number 5 most anticipated comic for September 2nd goes to Marvel Zombies Resurrection issue 1. Here we got Galactus on the cover, or dead-ass Galactus chasing after Spider-Man here, and the Marvel Zombies rise again, right? So we have Galactus who makes his way towards Earth, and then we have Spider-Man and a ragtag group of characters that got to come together and stop this zombie virus. So the earlier issue of this came out like a while ago, and Galactus was in space, and now he's finally making his way towards Earth here. We have DC's Unkillables right now. Is this Marvel's answer to that? I don't know. I don't think this is going to live up to DC's. DC's, it's its own thing, and it's absolutely phenomenal. I don't think this can beat that, but I like zombie stories. They never get old to me. I have a lot of fun with them. It's an alternate story. We'll see where this one goes. 56 pages, guys. $6 book. All right, so we're moving on to number 4, and slowly becoming one of my favorite indies of the year. This one goes to Firepower. This is issue 3, done by Robert Kirkman, and things just keep getting worse for Owen Johnson in this book, right? He can't protect his family from the Earthscorch clan, and now whether or not he's going to have to go back and face his past. He wants to stay with his family. He wants to, just be that home guy, but again, just things keep popping in, and he's going to have to solve his issues. And the biggest thing that happened in the last issue was that we find out that his sensei was missing, but we were revealed that it looks like his original sensei, the old guy, is going to be his worst enemy now. I was like, what? That was crazy what happened at the end of that last issue. So now I'm totally invested in this book. I can't wait to see what happens. Check out Firepower. If you can get your hands on the first 2 issues, I definitely suggest this book. It's a great one, guys. All right, so we're climbing to the top 3, and you might be surprised by this, but I've really enjoyed this book, and I actually recommend this story if you want to get it in trade. And this is Empire issue 6. This is the conclusion to the story. I think there's an aftermath book as well, but this has been a surprisingly good book. You know, everyone discounted it before it was even announced because people were like, what are these plant people? And I was actually one of those people. I wasn't actually hyped about this. But as I said, I'm going to give it a chance like I do most comic books. It got better as time went along. Now we have some things that are truly happening in this book when it comes to Black Panther, She-Hulk, The Thing, Captain Marvel. There's some huge things, and how are these things going to get resolved in one more issue? Maybe the aftermath issue, it's still unclear, but I think this is worth the pick up, and when a trade comes out of this, or an ultimate edition, or a hardcover, give it a try, guys, because I think you might actually be surprised. It reads pretty good, and it wasn't that bad. You don't have to read all those tie-ins and whatnot to understand what's going on in the story. So this one's 44 pages, and it's a $6 book. All right, so moving on to number 2. Again, a hard decision when it comes to these top 2, but this one goes to Deceased Dead Planet. This is issue 3, and the end of the last issue was really, really cool. You know, when it came to, you know, Constantine's group of characters was Swamp Thing, we wound up seeing them overrun by Plastic Man, zombified Plastic Man, and it looked like all hell was breaking loose at the end of the last issue. And we also get to see a relationship developing between Damian and Wonder Girl. I thought that was quite interesting too, between Cassie. I was like, wow, I didn't see that coming. Damian loving anybody is kind of weird anyway. I just think he's always dark and gloomy, even if he is Batman in this world. But there's a lot of great things that happen here. We have Green Arrow, who's being kept alive in Black Canary's like bubbles, and she's the Green Lantern because they know there's a cure for this disease, and they might be able to save some of the infected heroes. Great story. Can't wait to see how this one continues to develop. Check it out. DC's Dead Planet, 32 pages, $4. All right, and last but not least, guys, my number 1 most anticipated comic books for September 2nd, 2020 goes to, no surprise here, Batman issue 98, Joker War Part 4. Crazy last issue when it came to Batman issue 97, with Batman still dealing with his Joker toxin. Harley sitting there saying, you're going to trip balls, so I thought was absolutely hilarious, but he's trying to expose all of that toxin out of his body, and it just makes for it made for a really great issue. How I like how Tynion actually is keeping Alfred in the series somehow with the Joker toxin, so he's still talking to him even though he's not really there. I think that's very creative, and I also love the characters that Tynion has created, like Punchline and Clown Hunter and the others in this book. I think it's a phenomenal story, and it gets people excited about Batman, and it gets people excited about comics. There's been a lot of negative news when it comes to DC and just comic books in general, and I feel like we need to be more optimistic when it comes to comic books, because if we want to continue to grow this hobby and pass it on to the next generation, I think as reviewers or YouTubers, I think we need to actually be a little bit more optimistic, because there's other people that watch these videos, and when we trash on comic books and companies in general, people just get turned off by that and be like, well, why am I going to read comic books when everybody trashes them? So I think it's just an overall statement for today, and a good vibe. I feel like we just need to be more optimistic, and this is a story that proves that comics can stay and hang around, because there's definitely some creativity here. So guys, there are my top 10 most anticipated comic books for the week. I want to know what your top 10 most anticipated are. And guys, as always, thank you so much for watching. How about those trailers this week? Those were awesome. I'm going to leave you both of them right here to check out my thoughts on them. And guys, until next time, this is Mike Spider Slayer signing off, and I'll see you on the next video. Thanks for watching, guys. Take care. Bye.